Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Spirituality. That's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Ooh, wait, what a whirlwind. I wish I need a camera on me just before the show. It is a scene, man, a real scene. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate all the emails, all the comments, even when you don't agree. It doesn't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind disagreement. You don't have to agree. And so the topic for today's show, we are as different as our fingerprints. But before I get into the topic, I want to share with you, my new listeners, my people, and also the listeners, my audience that I've had. I was talking to my son this morning, and it's been over 10 years I've been doing Reality Spirituality. I've hosted the show both online, and then I had a couple of cable television appearances when I was in California. So it's been a while. It's been a long time. And with that, with anything in life, and when you tune in and you start looking in the mirror, and I don't mean looking in the mirror for wrinkles. I mean looking in the mirror for truth, looking in the mirror for answers, looking in the mirror for power, empowerment. This show, Reality Spirituality, shares with my audience how to empower yourself and how to experience more happiness. And this happiness that I'm talking about has nothing to do with what happens to you. The happiness that I'm talking about has nothing to do with what you experience or what happens to you or what doesn't happen to you, what the events in the world or the events in your life. Absolutely nothing. The happiness I'm talking about is a rooted, foundational place, vibration, and energy. When I say rooted, the more you practice, the more you get rooted in. The deeper the roots grow, and then you can, I just snapped my finger, and then you can call on it. You can call on your practice. It's like I remember when I learned how to drive a stick shift. Oh, my goodness, there was so much concentration, so much awareness, so much, how do I let off the gas and pull in the clutch and let off the clutch? For all of you people that know how to drive a stick shift, it is really hard to learn how to do. Well, at least it was for me. Scratch that. It might be easy for some people, but for me, it was a struggle, and especially because I learned on a hill. I learned in a hilly area. We lived in an area with a lot of hills, and it was a 1966 VW Bug, and my father taught me how to drive a stick shift. And when you have that, it's like anything else. You just use it. You just call it. The same thing with riding a bike, riding a two-wheeler. So it is the practice, and you are what you practice. Happiness is a practice skill. And when I say happiness, let me just be right up front. Some people don't like the word happy. Some people don't like that word. That's okay. I use that word interchangeably with contentment, balanced, peaceful, satisfied. You know that vibration when you just feel okay with life, with what's happening. And listen, aren't we challenged now? I can't think of of a more challenging time other than the world event. I think I spoke about this last couple of weeks. Other than the World Trade Centers being blown up, and not only the World Trade Centers, but the Pentagon. I'm not going to forget everyone. The Pentagon. I mean, 9/11. That is another type of. It's the same kind of energy. It's the same kind of massive. There's a lot of energy out there, and that energy, and each one of us is responsible for our individual energy. That's just the fact. Listen, you can be irresponsible or you could be responsible, but it's totally up to you. And so what are you contributing? What is your energy out there? What is your energy? Are you always angry? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you anxious? Are you depressed? Are you all of those emotions, that energy, that vibration, does that really serve you? And not only does it serve you, but is it serving the global community? Because I still say you can do anything. You can act. You can march. You can do whatever you want to do. But what is your personal energy? And that is the key. And I was looking at this interview. Let me just stay on this topic, and then I'll go back to the introduction. Lord, I just get so, I feel like I'm shot out of a cannon every week. I'm very, if you can't tell, I'm very passionate about this topic. This topic of happiness is the reason why I'm here on this planet, is to share with others, as many as will listen, as many as will want to hear, how to experience, how to be rooted in this peace, how to be rooted in this energy of contentment and satisfaction and happiness, regardless of what happens. And that's not to say that I'm up here with my head in a cave and I don't know what's going on, and I'm not up here in the mountains, and I'm not up here meditating every day and oblivious to what's going on in the world. Oh, I know what's going on. I do know what's going on, and it has been a challenge for me, especially since I'm labeling myself the happiness specialist. This is a challenge. It is a challenge, but it is a welcome challenge, because happiness is a practiced skill. And whatever you're practicing, let me tell you something. You will know. Listen, I don't care what you say to me. Yeah, I want to be happier, Rebecca. I want to know what you're practicing in your daily routine. I want to know if you're practicing acceptance. I want to know if you're practicing trust. I want to know if you're practicing. This is a strong belief that I want to share with you, that whatever is happening, and you know this country is divided. I'm talking about the United States because I do have listeners all over the globe. So the United States is divided in half. And the interesting thing is, it's so divided that one side, well, I'm not even going to, and I don't want, it's not about the side, but a lot of people are really short and easy to anger. The anger and the attacks are so quick. You know, listen, getting angry, you either can get a slow boil or you can just blow up like a volcano. But the truth is that the anger that is being displayed to someone else or to some other group, it doesn't matter who it is, on either side, that anger is a reflection of you and how you feel about yourself and about your life. It has nothing to do with the Democrats. It has nothing to do with the Republicans. Nothing. Trust me when I say this, because I used to run around pointing my finger at all of the things I thought angered me. Of course, and I even wrote about it. I posted this. It's called the blame game. The blame game people play. It's not your circumstances. It's not the relationships you do or you don't have. It's not who won the election or the price of gas or the weather. It's not your health or the aches and pains of life. It's not money. It's not how you look or how much you weigh. It's not your children or your parents. Your happiness, also known as your inner peace, depends on what you practice on a daily basis. You want to feel different during any challenge? You can. Look in the mirror and be truthful and be honest, be conscious, and elevate your consciousness. You can, listen, if you care at all about this planet, if you care about contributing to this planet and to the people on this planet, then be a responsible energy vibrator. It's just like an alcoholic, a person who alcoholic. It's just like a person who drives drunk. Well, they're not being forget them. They're not being responsible for others. If you get on the road, and unless you're driving in the middle of the Sahara Desert and you're on a dune buggy and you're driving in the middle of nowhere, you are responsible. Your actions are responsible for other people. Now, that is also, now let me step back a little bit, because now I'm getting into another topic where we go to the mask wearers and the non-mask wearers. And then the mask wearers will say that the people that don't wear masks have little responsibility or no responsibility. And I didn't want to get on this topic, but that's okay. I'm here right now, so I'm going to dig in for the other people. In other words, if you don't wear a mask, then you don't care about anyone else. So there's a very fine line. There's a very fine line, because I don't believe that. There is a responsible way. Okay, you know what? I got way off on the tangent. Let me just finish my thought on this. if I lost some people, oh well. I believe that I am responsible for not only my energy and not only my vibration, but I'm also responsible for maintaining my health, maintaining my hygiene. It's nobody else. So if I'm up here eating French fries and peanut butter cookies and pound cake from this market, which is the best pound cake ever, then who's responsible? Or if I'm smoking cigarettes, I'm responsible for my own health. It's no one else's responsibility. Anyway, I'm way off the topic, and it's already 15 minutes in the show when I haven't even gotten to the topic. Chew on that or not. So the topic of today's show is, if I can even remember, is we are as different as our fingerprints. And that is what I want to share with you today. In fact, that's my own quote, we are as different as our fingerprints. And when I say that, one of the biggest things that subtracts from happiness is the inability to accept others, their beliefs, their viewpoints. I mean, there's a huge, cancel culture now. Oh, I was getting into it. I'm going to cancel it. You can't think like that. Listen, that's my ego talking, because the deeper my inner being, I already know that the universe the sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. So it's not for me to judge. It's not for me to look out and say that someone else is wrong or say someone else is. These people, you know what I know? These people, whoever they are, I don't care what side you're on, people are doing the best that they can. These people, the people the people that you don't like, the people that you're angry at, the people that you point fingers at, the people that you think are less than, or whatever you want to label them. Whoever they are, whatever person or people that you have an issue with, know that they are doing the best that they can. Now, does that excuse them from anything? Absolutely not. But it is one of the ways that I could calm, that I needed to calm my own soul. I'm thinking, quite frankly, who doesn't want to be happier? Isn't that a global accomplishment to journey through this life feeling and being happy? I think it is written in the Constitution. All men created equal, pursuit of happiness. And so when I say that, is one of the things when I look at others and say they're not compatible energy with me, I also know that their experience and their journey and who they are is so different. Is so different. And so here we go, accepting others and accepting the fact that we are as different as our fingerprints. I was talking about an interview. Okay, so I was watching this interview of this woman. Let's see, what's her name? And I wasn't watching it on television. It was a YouTube. You know how they have the highlights. And I said, oh, that looks interesting. And the title was Whoopi Goldberg Storms Off the Show. Now, you know, sometimes I get roped into the titles. I confess. So I turned on the clip, and there was a woman. Her name was Judge Janine. I don't remember her last name, but she had a book out, and she was promoting her book, and she disagreed. Her and Whoopi Goldberg couldn't be on different on the one's on the North Pole and the other one's on the South Pole. But the problem is when the North Pole spoke about when she's a Judge Janine. I don't remember her last name. Anyway, you can Google that on YouTube and you can watch the clip. She was expressing her opinion, and Whoopi Goldberg went into she got so angry. I mean, to the point of moving her book, pushing her book, taking off her mic, and walking off the show. So this is what I'm talking about, where the anger is right beneath the surface, and you see that a lot out there. But see, if you hear the Whoopi, she'll say it's because this woman and she disagrees and she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she's got a different belief than me, and she's wrong. And that's why I'm angry. And I'm here to tell you that's not where the anger is coming from. The anger comes from the anger comes from that entity in the mirror. The anger comes from, listen, happy people don't get that angry. Well, let me scratch that. I'm just going to use myself as an example. No, I can't even do that because I used to. Hell yeah. Listen, that's why I love doing this show, because I used to be someone who would get so angry and so and it was so volatile and so loud, mad. What's the word when you fold your arms, and stubborn? I know I'm right. I was always right. Always right about everything. Now, some people might say, well, are you right about this? I'm right about this for me. How's that? And that's when I say we are as different as our fingerprints. So here we go. There are levels to all of this. So first there's anger. Someone else is different than you. Someone else, I can't believe I'm getting to the topic 20 minutes into the show, but anyway, here we go. Someone else is different than you. Someone else has different views. Someone else is living a different kind of life. When I say acceptance of others is a practice that guarantees you feeling more peace, more happiness, more contentment, that vibration, that all is well in the world and all is scratch all is well in the world, that all is well with me, and all is well with what I see. What? What did I just say? Did I just rhyme? All is well with me, and all is well with what I see. Oh, I better write that down. That was genius. But the first thing is anger. When you practice, when I say happiness is a practice skill, when you practice and you practice and you practice and you practice for days and weeks and years and decades and more decades, I can't think of anything that's gonna trigger me to that point, because of the awareness that it's whoever gets angry at me or whoever displays that kind of anger, I always know that it's never personal. Always know that it's something that's going on in their life. And so when we have this anger, and then we have this next stage of canceling, this next stage of canceling people and canceling others. Now, I'm not here saying that I'm going to have people of totally different North Pole, South Pole in my house breaking bread, even though I probably could. But I could definitely, you know what? I could definitely sit down with anyone and have lunch. I don't care how opposed. I don't know how long the lunch would be. Maybe it would just be a short cup of coffee. But that anger and then that cancel, there are stages. So first you have anger because someone isn't like you. Really, that's really the truth. It's not because of their beliefs. It's because they're not like you. They don't think like you. So when you so you have that anger, and then you have that canceling. Now, the canceling thing is just an avoidance. It's an avoidance of looking in the mirror and saying, okay, is it possible for me to accept and still do the work that I need to do? In other words, still proceed and keep on and doing the work that I feel is productive for me. When I say me, for my views, my perspectives. Then we get to another stage of tolerate. So see, we're going down the. Let me just read you the stages that I wrote down. First is anger. Then it's cancel. I'm canceling them. Then okay, I guess I have to live here now. I have to tolerate them. And then we get to another place when you grow and you expand and you get to a place of acceptance. And then the final stage, well, I think it's a final stage, is celebrating those differences. I know I'm almost choking on my own, on water. If I was drinking water, I'd be choking on it right now when I say celebrating other people's differences. So that means I'm celebrating people that don't prioritize happiness. I ain't there yet. Not celebrating it, not yet, but definitely acceptance of it. So who is happier? Who is happier? The person that gets angry, the person that has to cancel, the person that tolerates, the person that accepts, or the person that celebrates? Who do you think vibrates more peace? The person that gets angry, the person that cancels, the person that tolerates. I mean, that's saying, okay, I'm going to have fish for dinner, and I hate fish, and I'm going to eat the fish with my fingers closing my nose. See, that tolerate. How can you be happy when you're tolerating? So there are two stages of happiness when it has to deal with when it is addressing other people, and that is acceptance, and then a higher level, which I'm telling you right now, celebrating. I ain't celebrating that yet, but who knows what's going to happen this week. I may be able to celebrate it. When I talk about happiness, I didn't give my definition of happiness, and happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. And so whatever is going to happen with this election, it doesn't matter who it doesn't matter seriously because it's all in play. The destiny, it's going to happen the way it's unfolding the way it is divinely in order to unfold. And so my question to you is, do you, say that it goes in the opposite direction of you. And I know everybody's got strong preferences. And so my point is, those strong preferences, a strong preference, because all preferences subtract from peace and all preferences subtract from happiness. So there is a attachment to a preference, and there is a very soft that regardless of what happens, I know that it's going to be the best. I know that it is happening for a reason. I know that it is happening for more evolution, and I know that even though it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, a decade, maybe even a generation, that there is something good that is going to come from it. You know, I told this story before, and when I heard this, my eyes got big. I couldn't believe I've never heard this analogy before, and because I have a lot of new listeners, I want to share it again. And it was my best friend was telling me about him having a conversation with his ancestors. And he's black, and he was saying that his ancestors told him, and this is how he sees this, instead of saying universe or God, he calls it ancestors. Don't ask, that's his thing. So ancestors had a message for him. And they said, you know, when we got on those slave ships, we told our captors, you don't need to put me in chains. You don't need to put me in chains. You don't need to lock me up. I walk on this ship freely. I walk on this slave ship freely. What? Slave ship freely? How? Why you? In fact, I'll skip to the slave ship. I'll run on the slave ship. Well, that doesn't even make any sense, does it? I'll run on the slave ship. It doesn't even make any sense. And then he told me that the ancestors told him that yes, because we're not in this, we're not on the slave ship, looking at it with the same perspective as we're slaves. We're on the slave ship, looking down at our future generations, that they are going to have a better life, a prosperous life, it's going to be a better life without, I'm trying not to use labels, and sometimes it's hard. In other words, my descendants will have a better life in a new country. And so it wasn't about them being slaves in that moment. It was about looking at generations and generations and saying that my descendants are going to have a better life. Now, I know it's a story, but it's a way to look at. It's a way to find something good. It's a way to find something beneficial. It's a way to have a different perspective about slavery. Isn't that interesting? I mean, I've never heard anybody say what's good about slavery, and I'm not even talking about the financial benefits. I'm talking about the personal benefits. But so I'm asking you, all of you with children, sacrificing self so that your children will have a better life. That's really what they were saying. That's really what he was saying. Sacrificing self so that my children will have a better life. Now, listen, a lot of people don't do the sacrificing. I get it. You either feel like sacrificing for others or for your children, or you don't. No judgments here. But it was a really interesting way. It was a really interesting perspective to look at that, I mean, I've never heard anybody just having any kind of good thing to say about being enslaved. So my question to you is, the topic is we are as different as our fingerprints. So my question to you is, where are you in the stage when you look at others or you see others and they are angry, they cancel other people? So, no, scratch that. Are you angry? Do you cancel? Are you tolerating others? Are you accepting others? And or are you celebrating? So the levels are anger, then you cancel, then you tolerate, then you accept, then you celebrate. So which stage do you think you are going to find the most peace? When you're angry? When you're canceling someone else? When you're tolerating someone else? When you're accepting them without judgment? I have to throw that in. Acceptance without, you can't accept with judgment. That's just tolerating. Nice try. Anger, cancel culture, tolerate, acceptance, and celebrate. And then you get to another level. Who knows when I'm going to get there? When I can celebrate the differences. I can celebrate someone who is the opposite, total opposite of me. How many of us want to even practice that? How many of us even think that is a air quotes here, a noble cause? You know, when I used to think that when I found my purpose, I'd be happy. So I began this long search. What's my purpose? Why am I here? And that search lasted for decades. It just lasted for a long time. I'm looking everywhere, under a rock, taking this class, that class, this seminar, this workshop. I mean, by reading this book, tons and tons of books, searching, decades of looking for my purpose. Because I knew that when I found my purpose, I was going to be happy. I knew it. What's my purpose? But you see, there's a lot of people that are living out their purposes. There's a lot of people that have gifts in living out their purpose. I'm thinking about entertainers right now, musicians, artists, athletes, living out their purpose. But does that necessarily mean that they're happy? And the answer is no. I mean, I thought. But then I discovered that my purpose here is to grow and to expand my own consciousness and my own awareness. And my purpose is to accept myself and others without criticism or complaints. And my purpose is to feel in every moment, a sense of satisfaction. And my purpose is to be okay. Now I'm going to start crying. And the only reason why I don't like crying is because then I stop my train of thought. And my purpose is to be okay with uncertainty. And my purpose is to trust. And my purpose is to live in the present moment, just like when I was born. And my purpose is to look in the mirror for my solutions and to be myself without shame and to surrender in every moment without resistance. My purpose is to monitor and celebrate my growth and to vibrate an energy of peace and contentment regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's happening. That's my purpose. That's my practice. That's what I do. My purpose is to laugh and enjoy this life with whatever it brings. And my purpose is to practice all of the stuff I just mentioned as often as possible. And then my purpose is just to share with as many people what I've learned. And that's all this show is about. So when I say that happiness is a practice skill, It is a practice. It's a daily practice. It's an ongoing practice. It's a relentless practice. It's a never-ending practice. So my question is, what's all the anger about? And don't think that the anger is about what's happening out there. The anger is always a personal issue. There is a personal challenge. There is something that is there to uncover. There is something that is there to uncover. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's why that bothers me. You know, the whole thing about finding a button or people pushing buttons, or your buttons are pushed, and somebody says, oh, I was triggered, or my buttons were pushed. Well, guess what? When that happens, all that is a clue. It's a clue for you, well, why, to dig really deep, why, and root it up. You know how you have a weed, and you can't just pull the leaves out of the ground. You got to go get the roots. You got to get all the roots up to get the weed out. And so going to the roots, I mean, it is a daily discovery. It should be a weekly discovery. And it is fascinating. It is, listen, if you ever say, I'll tell you this, never bored. When you practice, when you make the commitment, and you practice and you prioritize, wanting to be happier. When I say wanting to be happier, I mean being rooted in this peace, contentment. You know what I'm talking about. You know that vibration I'm talking about. And that vibration is really who we are. We are peace. That's who you are under all of that, under all of this extra. You know, if you're wearing clothes or makeup or whatever, under all of that, stripped down to your bare birthday suit, underneath all of that, you were born peaceful, at peace. You didn't care what anybody was thinking. You didn't care what anybody said. You surely didn't get your feelings hurt. Words did not have power. You weren't making judgments. You weren't blaming others. You weren't comparing yourself with others. You were in the moment. And that's what I'm talking about when I say living in that moment, living in that present moment of really who you are, conscious energy. You are the universe in human form. And under everything else, the universe is peace. And you are peace. When I say we are as different as our fingerprints, can you say, don't ask me, I'm still working, I'm still practicing. Can you say you can look at someone, you can notice someone else, which is another thing that subtracts from your happiness, is being in anybody else's business, but I digress. But can you look at someone else and not have any kind of reaction, anger, snap, anger? Because when you're rooted in peace, it's really impossible to be angry and to get angry at something, what somebody does or what somebody else says. So I ask, why all the anger? And that's a question that only you can answer. Why are you angry? In other words, listen. And sometimes, scratch, and I don't want to give anger a bad name. Anger is not the bad name. It's not the issue because, listen, we are all on this planet and we all have feelings and we all have emotions, and sometimes it is a feeling of being, and only because I can't, the vibration of just being quiet, or the vibration of erupting, or the vibration of peace, or the vibration of confusion, or the vibration of you know what you get what I mean. And my point is this, that know that there is a story behind. In other words, we were all programmed to tell a story as to why. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I behaving that way? And I just want to share with you that it's never about the story that we tell. The stories are always suspect. Maybe it's just the season. So when I say we are as different as our fingerprints, and when I say we are as different as our fingerprints, it is a way to accept that others are not like you. And when I started practicing accepting that, much do I trust me? And I see there's people in the queue. I'm going to come right to you. When I started accepting that other people are not like me, even though, come on, there was a lot of peace behind that. There is a lot of peace behind accepting other people and their differences. And that's all I'm here to say. Because there are people, and I don't understand it. I don't even want to try to understand it. But I definitely can practice accepting it. I'm going to go to my first caller here. You are live on Reality Spirituality. Nathan, welcome to Reality Spirituality. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Me. What, do you have any comments about what we were talking about, acceptance? Because when I talk about we are as different as our fingerprints, it is really a concept that I, number one, didn't know about, number two, struggled with. Somebody's different, and thinking that someone else is less than or not as much. It was just so much judgment behind other people. But all of that took away, subtracted from my peace. So I had to do something about that. Do you have an example, or you could share with someone else, share with the audience?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific example because I have a million of them, a million times where I'm honestly confused at how someone can have a different belief than me or have a different solution than me, and then that's okay for them. You know, you talked about accepting, so you started accepting that other people were different, and I think for me it was the same thing with starting to, I think a big part of it is just I don't know what's best for every single person on this planet, and I mean I'm here to say that there was a time that I thought I did. I really thought I knew. Yeah, well, you know, ask me. I'll tell you what's best. Ask me. I'll tell you what's best. I'll tell you what's best. And then, so I think it's fascinating because I'm stuck with my body and my mind and my spirit all the time. So I really have to step outside the box to realize that, okay, there are other people that, you know, they have their own brain. They have their own history. And it's just not mine, and to be okay with that, you know, not think that there's something wrong with them, and there's not something wrong with me.
And so, very well said, very well, very succinctly said. And so, I want to add to that, it is really an epidemic. Talk about a pandemic of. I'm going to just speak for myself. I knew what was wrong with someone else, and I knew what would help them. I'm going to throw that on me and even my own parents. I knew what was wrong with my father. I knew what was wrong with my mother, and I knew what they needed to do to help themselves.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And boy, oh boy, did I butt into their decision, and I throw out my comments and my commentary without being asked. And so my point is this: whether you recognize that or you don't recognize that in yourself. I mean, I know I know that people are listening recognize that themselves, but what I'm saying is that subtracts from your peace. That behavior subtracts from your happiness. That's the only reason why I'm jumping off that train, because as a happiness specialist, and when I say that, it is my number one priority, is my number one commitment. When I say that, if that is my commitment, it is up to me to eliminate all behaviors that are going to subtract and take my peace away. And that is one of the biggest, is not accepting other people and their differences, and also putting a judgment. I'm shooting myself in the foot when I do that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm sharing this. Not to, that's the reason why I'm sharing it. I know that makes sense, right? Yes.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense to me. And I was just thinking, because you were talking about the present moment earlier and just being present with ourselves. We're always in a present moment. And if I am thinking about somebody else and what they, if I'm in my head about a solution for someone else, thinking about what's wrong with someone else, that is a present moment that I could be focusing on myself, that I can be focusing on my own happiness. I can be focusing on the room that I'm in and happy in the room I'm in, or wherever I'm at. It's just I can't think about judging others and being grateful for myself or something present at the same time.
So what you're saying is, and again, the point is this: you can do anyone in the audience can do it, but just know that you're subtracting from your own peace when you are doing that. I want to jump to another topic real quick, because we had a conversation earlier, and you asked a question about there was a dilemma, which I think is really interesting, and this is another practice. This is another practice that I do. It's probably one of my most recent ones in the last maybe 3 years or so, and maybe a little bit longer. But that practice is not making a commitment. You asked a question. Can you ask that question again about there was a dilemma between you wanting to hang out or spend time with two different people, and you didn't know which one you wanted to? Can you set that up really quick, if you don't mind?
Yeah, let me set it up. So I wasn't sure if I was going to hang out with person A or person B. And this is today. And in my mind, I decided that I was going to hang out with person A, and that was that. And then last night and this morning, I thought, well, I started feeling different about it. And I thought, well, actually, I'd prefer something else than what I said I was going to do. And so I wanted to switch to hang out with person B. But I was afraid to switch because I didn't want to disappoint person A. I already told them I was probably going to do that. I was just afraid of changing my plans, sort of last minute, changing my mind. Mm-hmm. And so I was really confused about, well, maybe I shouldn't change my plans, even though I didn't really want to anymore. I thought, well, maybe I should just stick to my original plans because that's what I said I was going to do. So I was just in conflict about what to do, how to please myself, and my confusion about wanting to please others.
Well, I love you sharing that.
This worry about disappointing others. That's the last thing I'll throw in.
Okay. And again, I have a few people in the queue. If you want to speak with me live, all you do is press the number 1. The number to call in is area code 646-564-9619, area code 646-564-9619. I have about 8 people in the queue. And sometimes people just call in just to listen live. But if you want to speak with me live, just press the number 1. Anyway, so here's the solution, and this is, again, back to the practice. And, again, what is this show? Reality Spirituality. The show is how to experience more happiness along the journey. And there is a formula to that. There is a formula to happiness. It's not just it's just like Einstein's formula for relativity. What is it? What? You know it.
Yeah, you got it.
You know what I'm
relativity. It sounds weird now. Relativity?
Yeah, relativity. Thank you, Einstein, for making it a little bit difficult. No, so there is a formula for happiness, and one of the things is this. So I said to you, and I was giving you a little tease. I said I have the solution, and one of the things that I practice, unless I'm getting on a plane, unless I have a doctor's appointment or some kind of appointment or a massage appointment, I never make future plans. And if someone asked me a couple of weeks ago about going to a Halloween party 2 weeks before Halloween was Halloween, 2 weeks before the day of Halloween. And when I say it's a practice, because I never know how I'm going to feel that day. And what I found is when I made plans, then the day of, sometimes I didn't want to. Sometimes I didn't feel like it. Sometimes I wasn't in the mood. That's why it's so interesting to me. Now, everybody's different. We are different as our fingerprints. But now I'm making future plans to hang out with someone 2 weeks in advance. What if I don't feel like that on that day? And then I'm gonna be in the situation what you just described. Now I got to tell them I changed my mind. Now they're going to be disappointed. And quite frankly, you know, I can change it. You and I change plans all the time. What are you feeling? You feel it? Yes. You don't feel it? No. But that is because we practice the same things. But for me, the solution was easy. I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel, and I have to be honest. I don't know how I'm going to feel until that day. Done. I don't know if I want to go to a Halloween party until that day. And sometimes, this is really interesting, sometimes in the morning I may, yay, and the party's at 8 o'clock at night. Well, around 6 o'clock I'm changing my mind. So the making a future plan with something that doesn't require an appointment, for me, is a setup for exactly what you're experiencing today. What do you think?
Yeah, I get it, and we've talked about that before, that making plans thing, and I think the way for me, I'm thinking, how can I do this? Or we've talked about this solution too of maybe I can make plans. Or if say it is a weekend, I could say, okay, we're hanging out in a week, and I'm going to check in with you that day, the day of, or that morning, and confirm if it's happening or not. Or even if it's tomorrow, we're hanging out tomorrow, and I'm going to do a double confirm in the morning and really see as it gets closer and make that clear. So it's like, because I'm thinking, how can I make plans but also be okay to adjust them? And that's one way, I think, for me to do that.
Well, if somebody tells me, and this is RLN talking, somebody tells me that yes, I want to do this, and I'll do a double confirm, I'm already out. Double confirm. That's just me. And I'm saying that because this happiness, when I say look in the mirror, and it is a looking in the mirror, it is never ever about, listen, I'm a nice person, I'm a kind person, but it is, this happiness comes from, and selfish is a word that gets a bad rap, but there's some selfishness to my peace, me knowing what's peaceful to me, and that's that. What's peaceful for me is I'll let you know, and I want to also let you know that I may go and I may not go. You know, I'm visiting California in a week, and I have zero plans except for my doctor's visits. Let's see, I have a doctor's visit. Oh, and I have an interview. I will not tell anybody when I'm going to be, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No plans. I'll let you know that day. That works for me. And here we go again. We're as different as our fingerprints. So if your double confirmation works for you, then, hey, I'm bowing all the way down. I give you standing ovation. I'm just letting you know that for me, it's just an added step. So an added step. Okay, I'm going to confirm, and then I'm going to double. For me. And so here we go again with we are as different as our fingerprints. And that's how, and you do it differently. So there you go. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I definitely am down for we're different as our fingerprints and what works for self. I think, yeah, I just think it. I was just hearing if you're hearing a double confirmation. You said you're already out, but if you say to someone, "I'll let you know," I don't know. I'll let you know. Like I don't know until the day. Well, then they might be out too.
Yes, and this is so good, and you're right. And so when I said, let me take back that statement, I might be out, because that's also a future. See, I'm making future decisions. I'm making future decisions for myself, and what I just said, I would be out, is a false statement, because on that day, I may not be out. So here I am making a future decision that may not even be true.
Right, that's another good one, too. I mean, I think that's, now I'm listening to you, I feel like that's actually what we're talking about is this, how can we make a decision for ourselves for the future? I mean, does that even make sense?
And the answer is no.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
And thank you. You just summed it up. How can you make a future decision? And that's why I love the show. It's reality, spirituality, everyday life, everyday decisions, everyday circumstances. Everybody that's out there that's listening to the show knows exactly what we're talking about and has experienced it, from people getting disappointed, other people having expectations, all of that kind of stuff. So adding to we are as different as our fingerprints, but making a future decision, again, unless it's business, I mean, this getting together, the social thing, a future decision, does that even make sense? I just did it 2 minutes ago and said, wow, I'm already out, which is wrong for me. How can I say I'm out in the future and I don't even know? Or I'm in the future and I don't even know until that moment?
Yeah.
Because the other things that subtracts from happiness is living in the past or living in the future. Living in the future, making decisions in the future, being in the future. And unless if I'm supposed to bring, if there's a big potluck and I'm supposed to bring chicken wings, and I say I'm bringing chicken wings, 2 weeks in advance, I will go and drop off my chicken wings. Now, does that mean I'm going to stay for the party? Who knows? But so there's a fine line. But I'm talking about something that is really easy, like you said, hanging out with A, hanging out with B, but then I have to make a decision on a Friday whether I want to hang out with somebody on a Sunday. I already know myself. I vibe different vibes every day. And in fact, this show, I don't even know if I'm going to do a reality spirituality show until that morning. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and the Sunday morning, and I don't even. I mean, I can count it on one hand. But a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't inspired to do a show, and I didn't. And I do this show every week. Mostly. So that's what we're talking about. It's really about the practice. It's really about, and then it's about knowing self and then practicing and then experimenting. Because what you just said, this practice is always flowy. It's always in flow. It's always moving. It's always changing. And that's another key. Be okay with the flow of it. Well, I felt like I wanted to go this morning, and now I don't want to go. Is that okay? Being okay with the flow and the movement and the free movement and being open to all of it. Now, listen, in the real world, there's a lot of resistance to that easy, flowy. But when people know, and it's up to me to let them know that this is how I roll, Hey, you want to hang out with me? You will hang out with me, but who knows when? Are you okay with that? There you go. Right. If you're not okay with that, then that's another issue. What were you going to say?
I'm listening to you, and I'm trying to break it down for me, and I'm breaking it all the way down to just being honest. And like you said, this is how I roll. This is me, and that's me, and that. Period. Or this, hey, I'm not hanging out. I said I was going to hang out with you 5 minutes ago. Well, now it's 12:05. I don't want to. That's me being honest. Period. Because what I told you with this person disappointing. I don't know this and that. Where's the honesty in that? Where's the honesty in me in all of that? Am I really? Is it just coming down to I'm just afraid to be honest? Yes. I don't want to say, hey, I said I was going to hang out with you. I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I'm afraid to be honest because I don't want them to take it personal. I don't want them to not like it. I want them to take it the wrong way, whatever. So, yeah, I'm just hearing honesty. And like you said, presenting that, this is how I roll, this is me, that's me, and that's that. And am I okay with that for myself?
I'm getting chills. I was getting chills when you said honesty, and you just narrowed it all the way down, Nathan. You narrowed it all the way down. And I think I told you. I think I said it on the air too. But this is a perfect story. About 4 weeks ago, I was watching TV at the sports bar at the bowling alley where they have a sports bar where I can watch my football games. And this guy, came over to my table. He said, "Sit with us." He was with his neighbor. I think I told you the story, but anyway, I want to share it because it's a perfect story. And he liked me. We want to talk. He said, "Come to the table." And a football game is 3 hours, so he would come over and, come on, sit. And I said, I'll sit with, because our teams were playing against each other. And that's what it was. He was rooting for Oakland, and I was rooting for the Patriots, and they're playing. Of course, my team won. I said, no, I'm not coming to your table. I don't want to jinx my team. All that kind of back and forth sports stuff. And he asked me for my number over a period of an hour, and I said, listen, I'll give you my number, but I'm letting you know this. Talk about honesty. I said, don't call me, text me. And see, my honesty is right there. Don't call me, text me. I prefer texting. And if you text me, I may not respond right away. I may respond later. I may respond 2 days. I may respond the next day. I'm just letting you know. And so with all of that honesty, this guy has never – I saw him a couple weeks ago. He doesn't even talk to me now. He doesn't talk to me because of my honesty. Well, I don't know why, but he was not interested anymore. Let's just say that. He was not interested. And so that honesty is going to weed out a lot of, how do I say this? I'm going to say for me, it weeds out a lot of people that are not compatible with me and the way I roll. And that's such a good feeling. I mean, because now I already know. Bam, right off the bat. This is it. Bam. And your mother. Bam.
I know, and I was going to say there's something cool about that because because I know, relationships.
Did you say cruel or cool?
Well, I said cool, but now I think of it, is a little cruel. But you know what? Life is cruel sometimes, and it hits hard and it hits fast. And listen, sometimes you need a cold splash of water to the face instead of a little drip here, drip there. Let's do this, because I know for me, sometimes relationships or friendships or anything, coworkers, can go a long time before honesty is revealed, and it changes or maybe it doesn't change, but
the dynamic. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Or I would say it becomes a more honest relationship, and that is, that change in dynamic can be jarring. It can be emotionally draining to go through that. Oh, I thought it was this way, and it's really this way. Well, what about doing it right off the bat, like you said? What if there is no jarring, oh, I thought it was this way for 6 months, for 6 years, and now we're finally being honest? I mean, what is that? Let's just do it right off the bat. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's not a let's do it. It's I do it.
Well, yeah. Someone's got to do it. Either one person or both people.
Well, the both people. I'm responsible for.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because he's honest too. Because if he really isn't into that, what you said, and if he's being honest with, I'm not into that, and I'm done. He could also. What if he doesn't like that and he tries to kind of weasel in anyway? Well, now he's not being honest with himself. I mean, who knows what he's thinking? But yeah, it's just, I do think both people. Yeah, there's sort of honesty on both ends.
Well, I'm gonna as RLN, both people. I'm gonna scratch that. It's not both people. It's one person. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's not. I'm not. In other words, I can't. Just because I'm honest doesn't mean somebody else has the ability to be honest. And number two, is comfortable with honesty. And number three, even knows. So it's not a group. It's not a we. It's not of the other person. It's me standing in, knowing myself, and being honest and upfront. And listen, I don't mind weeding out 98% of the population, because I already know the outcome, because I lived most of my life the other way. Not being honest to what I knew what was best for me, what I want. First of all, I had no clue, but now that I know, to be with, so many, are you kidding? Decades and decades of living, what if, and I don't know, and not beating myself up because I didn't know. I was doing the best I could. But now that I know and I'm rooted in who I am and what I want, I asked you. You ask people, what do you want? What do you want in a relationship? I know what I want. I want part-time, whatever it is, part-time.
Right.
And scratch that, because that's a future thing too. Right now, I say I want part-time.
Yeah, right. And I love that so much. We're just, the fact that we're scratching statements made a couple seconds ago, because they're either a story or they're in the past and the present, I feel like is so helpful. For me, it's very helpful, because just going back to honesty, it keeps it not only honest, but it keeps the statements true for me. Is this really true? Or am I spinning out some mumbly mumbles? What am I even talking about? I remember, and I sorry if I may bring the past into the present, but I remember talking to you, years ago about something that was troubling me, and you let me talk for a long time. You said, "What? That doesn't happen." You let me talk for a long time, and then at the end, you said something that really bothered me, but it was true, which is nothing new for anyone listening. This isn't anything new. And you said, you know, none of what you said was present moment. And I paused, and I just kind of did a quick reflection, and I realized I was just talking to you about, and then he said, she said, and then and then what if this happens, and what if that happens, and then what do I think about this? And I could talk all day about the thoughts floating in my mind. I really could let the incessant thoughts be what comes out of my mouth. That doesn't mean they're true. So I like when we do the scratch that, that's future, scratch that, that's the story. Because the more we do that, the more I do that, the more I really am being honest with myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it just makes my whole morning when I know I can still, even at 35 years old, I can still annoy you.
Oh, yeah, you can rest easy on that one.
Yeah, and so, again, the stories, all suspect, and it's so interesting. So I see myself in the stories, and I can, you know, like Dorothy, when the Wizard of Oz, and how the house was caught up in the tornado and was going around and around in the tornado around and around. It reminds me of when you're talking about the thoughts, how you can just stay in that circle and stay there in the tornado. You could just jump out. But sometimes staying in the tornado is entertaining. Sometimes it's definitely time consuming. And when you're ready to jump out, you just jump out.
I love that. And now I want to just accept that. Can you tell me, or you suggest to me sometimes just accept whatever's going on. So if I'm in a tornado, I'm in a tornado of thoughts, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's part of the truth too. It's just it's true that I can jump in and jump out. You know, just because I'm in doesn't mean I'm stuck there forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And you already know that you're not stuck there forever, because you're the one always telling me is that I'm not going to be there forever. I'm not going to be a DOJ forever. I'm not, you know, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you said, hold on a second. One of the things that you said, darn, I lost my train of thought. Thoughts forever. Oh, you talk about honest. Okay, you said honest, being honest. So for me, when I lead with my honesty, there's such a solid. It's just a solid feeling. I feel like I'm walking on some solid foundation here. Solid. I'm not on a sand. I'm not on a surfboard. I mean, I'm solid. When you just said, you know, yes, I want to hang. I really enjoy hanging out with you. That's honest. I enjoy your company. That's honest. I said, well, for me, what I find that sometimes my inspiration changes, and I find that my inspiration changes throughout the day. Sometimes it changes in the morning, sometimes it is in the evening. So my inspiration changes. So with saying that, I know that I do like hanging out with you, but my inspiration changes. And I'm not going to ask permission. I'm going to give you an answer on that day. Done. Or you can script it any way that fits you and your spirit. But the honesty, the really digging into honesty and communicating with honesty, I don't think there's anything better than that. And the interesting thing is that guy not talking to me. I remember the next week he didn't talk to me later. I mean, he didn't even talk to me. So now, not only he can't communicate back. He can't even say hello. So wow, who? It's like, who wants to be around an energy that now if I say this, now you're gonna start pouting. You know, it's a pouting thing. Oh, I love to get rid of powders. Oh, you're a powder? Oh.
You know what, too?
Oh, please.
I was going to say, you know, the different reactions people can have, because he also could have had a reaction of, oh, cool, or that sounds good to me, or I totally get that, or that's, you know, I like that. You do you. I'll do me. Here's my number, and then you know, go from there. So it's, I like that. I like this weeding people out, or that compatible energy. And I'll say I'll go all the way back, Mom, to the beginning of this call with you, and talking about different or people's fingerprints and accepting that people are different, because I really did have this belief that I wanted to be compatible energy with everybody. And that's not a thing. I'm compatible energy with the people I'm compatible with, but not with every single person. And that's okay. And that has to be okay. As far as happiness and peace is concerned, I really have to get that, because otherwise I'm okay, this person doesn't talk to me because I'm honest. You know, that's going to mess with me. But if I remember, it's okay that we're not compatible. We are different as our fingerprints. That doesn't make me wrong for being honest. It doesn't make me believe I have to change who I am, or they have to change who they are. It's just the way it is. And I didn't even really was able to phrase it like that I wanted to be compatible energy with everybody, but I really did. So that's where I'm transitioning to.
Okay, now I'm going to really be an asshole and say I knew that.
Oh, God. No, I get it. Well, listen, yeah, come on now. I mean, we all knew that, but yeah. I think that's a good point in knowing something and then acting it, you know, talking the talk and walking the walk, because you know, I don't want to. I love your story with you and with you at the watching the game and being honest. But you know, me doing that and saying this is me, and then having someone not talk to me, I don't know about all that.
Well, let me tell you, I just can't wait to go back again. And when I didn't know if he was going to talk to me the first time. I can't wait to go back again and see him. I'm going to go right to his table and say, "Hey, how's it going?" Oh, that's the best.
Oh,
it's the
Lord.
best.
Well, props to you. Kudos to you. I'll hear about it from the sidelines.
Because it's never about them anyway. It's always I'm going to not talk to him because he's not talking to me. I love people that don't talk to me, because then I'm really going to talk to you, because I am not going to do what you do, because that doesn't feel good to me to not I see somebody and I don't talk to them. That feels like crap. So I can't do them. That's why it's never about the other person. But one of the other things that, you know, we've said it before. Listen, the comedians out there, everybody doesn't like Dave Chappelle. Everybody doesn't like Jerry Seinfeld. Everybody doesn't like CK whatever Rowling. Oh, who is that guy that anyway,
Louis.
Everybody.
Louis CK, right?
CK. Yeah, I'm telling you, Kevin Hart, I do not think he's funny at all. I'm sorry, Kevin Hart. I don't think he's funny at all. Not a lick. Well, that's not true. There's a couple things, but it's when you so that's the thing about being different and different as our fingerprints. And the animals aren't compatible. I mean, you get the monkeys that jump on the back of the rhinos, and you get the flies that eat the but the fish isn't going to be hanging out with any kind of bear, because that's the world. Everybody's the compatibility is different, and sometimes there might be a small little compatibility issue, a little small thing that you're compatible with, and then a 5% compatible with that. So then you focus on the 5%, and 95% you're not.
I love that. That feels really
yeah.
It's
finding compatible. Sometimes you're 5% compatible, maybe you're 100% compatible, maybe 1%. So it's looking for that, finding that or not. And sometimes it's just zero compatibility. Zero.
I'm so into that because I'm watching nature programs, and you're right. Some of the animals clean off the other animals first. Some of them hide from the other ones. Some of them, they're all different, and that's just the flow of nature.
Yes. Wow, what a good show today. Thank you for your contribution as usual.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Yeah, what a great show. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for joining in. And everybody else, I'll have a couple people that hung up already. That's okay, everybody. You probably had something else to do. I know it wasn't me. It's not personal. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Visit my website. It's not up yet, but it's going to be up soon. I know I've been saying that for a while. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington and LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. I have a few videos on YouTube, and my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, Program for Unhappiness, will be out in 2021. I can say that for sure, 2021. And until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving, you're always changing, and you're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca Lynn Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. Your experience on this journey determines whatever you practice, reflects whatever you practice. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality Spirituality.